SVG is a vector-based image format. There are two types of gradients, linear gradients and radial gradients. What is HTML5? It's a hypertext markup language. A gradient is a gradual transition between one or more colors. Hello to all, a warm welcome to my new session on CSS animation. I'm your Revati ma'am, faculty from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. In my last class, we have discussed CSS transition. Transition in the sense what? Transition is nothing but how the object or elements are going to change the position. Okay, so how they are going to transmit the state from one state to another. That is nothing but the CSS transition. Okay, fine. Now in my today's session, I'm going to deal with HTML5 SVG. So what is HTML5? It's a hypertext markup language. Okay, and 5 is nothing but the version 5. It's a markup language for designing the structure and content of the document. That's nothing but the hypertext document. Then what about SVG, scalable vector graphics? So what is scalable? According to the user need, okay, you can able to scale up the graphics. So it is called scalable vector graphics. Along with that, we are going to study some of the graphical features which is supported by the SVG. Okay, fine. Let's see what is SVG. So it's a scalable vector graphics, okay, which is HTML. Okay, it's a scalable vector graphics where I can able to use with XML. So what is XML? Extensible markup language. It's a XML based, okay, vector graphics. It's a XML based vector image. So SVG is a vector based image format. Okay, and most of the equations are represented in the form of mathematical equation. In the sense what? To create SVG image, okay, what I want to do, I want to provide the equations. And how I'm going to provide the equation, that is in terms of mathematical equation. Okay, and user can able to scale up and scale down the graphics without losing the quality. So SVG allows the user to scale up the graphics, that's nothing but the image, and scale down the image without compromising the quality. So SVG images are commonly used in the web page. The question arises where I use vector, that is scalable vector graphics, that is in my web page in the form of logos, in the form of icons, and in the form of maps. I'm going to use SVG. Okay, fine. Now, okay, how we can able to view SVG files? So SVG files can be viewed in two ways. One is using web browser and one is using SVG editor. So which are the web browser supports scalable vector graphics? That is nothing but the Google Chrome, Mozilla, Microsoft Edge, as well as Safari. And if I consider SVG editors, which are the most commonly having, in the sense used SVG editors, that is none other than Adobe, Illustrator, Ink, Sketch, okay, and Figma. These are the most commonly used SVG editor. Now, okay, how we can able to include SVG in my HTML5. So I have the SVG file, and where I'm going to include the SVG file in my HTML5. So, okay, suppose if I want to include SVG in my HTML document, and what is the tag I want to use? That is nothing but the SVG tag. So, to include scalable vector graphics, I'm going to use the tag SVG. And if I consider the syntax of SVG, okay, so I'm going to have the attribute width, and I'm going to specify the width, okay, and I'm going to have the attribute, okay, height. I'm going to specify the attribute. And how I'm going to specify the width and height? Okay, so I can have the pixel, okay, even I can have the percentage. So to specify the width, I can have, okay, pixel, or I can have the percentage. And along with that, I can have the SVG element, and I'm going to close the SVG tag. So here, width and height can be specified in pixels or percentage. And some of the SVG elements are, elements in the sense what? Tags. So SVG tags are, see, what are the tag? I can have line tag, I can have the rect tag, that's nothing but the rectangle. For circle, I can have the circle element. So elements are nothing but the tags. So see, I have a program, okay, that is program to create empty SVG image with green background. I want to create a SVG image that is nothing but scalable vector graphics, okay, and the background color is green. So I have my HTML code, okay, body, which is my tag. SVG is nothing but my tag, okay. I'm going to specify the width of the image and height of the image, and my style is nothing but, okay, background, okay, background color is nothing but green, okay, and I'm going to close the SVG tag. Now, okay, I have the SVG element called line. That's nothing but the tag. Okay, what is my tag name? Line is nothing but my tag name. So if I want to draw a line, what are the things I want? I want the x0 coordinator, y0, okay. I want the x1 coordinator and y1 coordinator. So we can able to draw the line. What kind of line? Straight line between 2 points in a SVG image. So see here, what is my element name? Element name is line, okay. I have the coordinators like x1, y1, x2, y2. Over. And I'm going to specify the value. So what about x1? It's nothing but the x coordinate. That's nothing but the starting point of the line. And if I consider y1, it's also starting coordinate, okay, which is the starting point of the line. And x2 and y2 are the coordinates, okay, which is going to specify the ending point of the line. Okay, now I have this simple code, that is, okay, I'll start with the HTML, okay, I'm going to write the body. Inside the body, I'm going to have the scalable vector graphics tag, okay, I'm going to specify the width of the image and height of the image, over, and I'm going to have my SVG element, that is line. Okay, I'm going to specify the x1, y1 coordinate, that is, okay, if I consider this is my screen, okay, so this is my x1, okay, and this is my y1, okay, if I consider here I have 50, 50, so 50, 50, okay, and I have 150, 150. So this is my x1, y1, this is my x2 and y2. See, I'm going to get the output line. Okay, fine. Next, I have one more SVG element, that's nothing but the rectangle. So, I want to draw a rectangle. Used to draw the rectangle, I'm going to use rect element. So, what's my tag name? Rect. Okay, rect. I have the x coordinate, y coordinate. At the same time, I'm going to specify the width. This is nothing but the width. Okay, this is nothing but the height. Okay, where x specifies the x coordinate, okay, of the upper left corner. So, upper left corner of the rectangle, where y specifies the upper left corner of the rectangle. Width specifies the width of the rectangle. Height specifies the height of the rectangle. Okay, fine. If I consider the example here, okay, I'm going to have the SVG tag, okay, and I'm going to specify the image width and image height. Now, okay, rect. What is my x coordinate? 50. What's my y coordinate? It is 50. And what is the width? It is, what is the width? 125. So it is 50, 50. Okay, 150. And what about the height? It is 75. And what I want to do? I want to fill the blue color. So I'm filling with the color blue. What about stroke? It is nothing but the red color. And what about the stroke width? That's nothing but the thickness too. Next, I'm going to have one more SVG element, that is nothing but the SVG tag. Okay, fine. So, to draw a circle, okay, I'm going to use circle tag. So, if I consider the syntax, okay, what is the tag name? Circle. Okay, I'm going to specify x coordinate, y coordinate. Okay, I'm going to specify the radius. And if I consider x coordinate, okay, center of the circle. And if I consider the y coordinate, it's also center of the circle. And r is nothing but the radius of the circle. And if I consider the example, okay, so I have the SVG tag. Okay, I'm going to specify the width of the image, height of the image. Okay, and if I want to draw the circle, okay, if I want to draw the circle, see here, this is the monitor, okay, and for example, your x and y center is this one, 100, 100, okay, and what about the radius? It is 50, okay, and if I consider the color, it is blue color. So, R is nothing but the radius. Now, if I want to draw the ellipse, okay, I'll use the tag called ellipse. So, what's my tag name? Ellipse. X coordinate, y coordinate, then radius of x and radius of y, where x is nothing but the x coordinate of the center of the ellipse. What about y? Y is nothing but the center of the y. Then what about Rx? It is nothing but the horizontal. So it is your horizontal line. Okay, H. If I consider this one, it is your vertical line. So Rx stands for horizontal line, whereas Ry stands for vertical radius. Okay, fine. Now I have the code here. So I'm using SVG tag. What is the image width? 200. What is the image height? 200. Okay, what I want to do? I want to draw the ellipse. So I want to get the center point. Okay, so it is 50, 50. X coordinate 50 and y coordinate 50. And if I consider Rx, it is, okay, it is horizontal. Okay, then if I consider Ry, it is nothing but the vertical. Then what is the color of the ellipse? That is nothing but the blue color. Now I'm going to have one more SVG element, that is nothing but the polygon. Okay, this draws a closed shape which contains of a series of connected straight line. So what is polygon? See here, if I consider the image, okay, this is nothing but the image of the polygon. Over. So to draw the polygon, okay, I have the points x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3. Over. Now, points, see here, where, for example, this is my x1, this is my y1. Okay, similarly, x2, it is y2. If I consider x3 and y3, and if I connect the lines, okay, so this is nothing but the polygon. So point specifies the vertex or vertices of the polygon. Attributes specify other properties such as stroke color. You can have the properties like stroke color, stroke width, okay, fill color, etc. So each, see here, each coordinates are separated by the comma. So the first vertex represents the starting point of the polygon, and the last vertex, okay, this is the last vertex, is automatically connected to the first vertex. Now, if I consider the program here, okay, I have the attribute called polygon over, and I'm going to have the points, that is nothing but the 25, comma 25. So it is my starting point, 25, comma 25. Then I'm going to have the 100, comma 100. Okay, then 75, comma 25. Okay, fine. Now, so this is my first vertex. Okay, so the last one is connected automatically. Okay, and what is the color I'm going to fill? I'm going to fill the color blue. Okay, fine. I'm going to have one more element called polyline. So this draws an open space. If I consider polygon, it is used to draw the closed space. Okay, but if I closed shape, if I want to draw the closed shape, I'll go with the polygon. Okay, if I want to draw the open shape, then I'll go with the polyline. So what it consists? It consists a series of straight line. So it's nothing but it's a connection, or it is a collection of, okay, lines, and they are connected each other. So polyline, okay, I'm going to have the points x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3. And I'm going to specify the attributes like fill color, stroke color, width, okay, etc. So each coordinates are separated by the comma, and multiple vertices are separated by the space. So I'm going to provide the space between multiple vertices. Okay, fine. If I consider the example here, okay, see here, polyline, okay, 25, comma 25, it is 25, comma 25. So x1, y1, it is 100, comma 100, okay. So x2, comma y2, then 75, comma 25. So if the lines are connected like this, so this is nothing but the open shape. Okay, so the first vertex represents the starting point where the last vertex is not connected to the first vertex. Okay, fine. Now, okay, I'm going to have star. Suppose if I want to create a star, I use the shapes like polygon and specifies the vertices of the star. Okay, So I'm going to have this simple example here. I'll use the polygon. Along with that, I'm going to specify the vertex. So I use polygon. Okay, what is the points? 150. Okay, 120, 95, 70, 95, 30, 25, 51, 70. Over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So to draw this star, okay, how many coordinates I required? 8 different coordinates I required. Okay, fine. Now I have one more very important topic, that is nothing but the gradients. Okay, a gradient is gradual transition. Suppose if I want to provide any transition in my element, then I'll go with the gradients. So a gradient is a gradual transition between one or more colors. I have the object, okay. Now I want to provide the transition of color in my object, then I'll go with the gradients. There are two types of gradients, linear gradients and radial gradients. So linear gradients, if I consider linear gradients, it's used to change, okay, change the color gradually in a straight line from one color to another color. So think that I have this straight line and I want to change the color. Then I'll go with the linear gradient. And what about radial gradient? Radial gradient is nothing but, okay, when I use radial gradient in my circle, and if I want to change the color gradually in my circle, I'll go with the radial gradient. So linear line, radial is nothing but the circle. So I'll draw the circle. So think that this is the center, okay. From center, okay, I want to change the color towards the edge of the circle, then I'll go with the, that is radial gradient. Okay, fine. Now, okay, how I can able to apply linear gradient? When I use linear gradient, when I want to change the color of the line, then, okay, I'm going to use the linear gradient. Two type of linear gradients. Okay, if I consider line, what are the two type of line I can have? I can have the horizontal line, I can have the vertical line. Suppose if I want to use, okay, horizontal line, okay, see here, linear gradient, I'm going to specify the ID of the gradient, and if I consider line, I have the x coordinate and I have the y coordinate. So how many points I required? I must have the 2 points, okay, and I'm going to draw the line. What are the coordinate? I required x1, y1, x2, y2. And okay, I'm going to specify the stop offset value, that is 0. Stop color is nothing but the start color. And if I consider stop offset, okay, 100%, and stop color is nothing but the end of the color, okay, and I'm going to close the linear gradient. Okay, fine. Now, where ID is nothing but the unique ID of the gradient. X1 and Y1 is nothing but the starting point of a linear gradient. Whereas X2 and Y2 are nothing but the ending point of the linear gradient. Stop defines the position and color of the gradient. Offset specifies the position of the color along with the gradient, where stop color specifies the color of the gradient. Okay, fine. Now I have one more example. See here, I have linear gradient. Okay, I'm going to have the ID called Gradle1, okay, grad1, x1 coordinate, y1 coordinate, x2 coordinate, y2 coordinate. Okay, I'm going to specify the stop offset value, stop color, and I'm going to specify the stop offset value, and I'm going to specify the style. That is nothing but the stop color green. So I have x1, y1. Okay, so for example, if this is red color, then okay, x2, y2 is nothing but the green color. Okay, fine. Now I have, okay, I'm going to close the linear gradient. Okay, see here. Suppose if I want to draw the rectangle, so I'm going to have the x coordinate, I'm going to have the y coordinate. Okay, I'm going to specify the width, height. Okay, and what I'm passing here, I'm passing the URL. So what is this? It is nothing but the gradient ID. So if I consider this example, what is my gradient ID? That is nothing but the grad1. How to represent? By using hashtag. Okay, I'm going to pass the value. So URL is nothing but universal resource locator. Okay, fine. Next, if I consider radial gradient, okay, think that I have a circle, okay, and I'm going to identify the center point, okay, and I'm going to provide the transition towards the edge. For that, I'm going to use the radial gradient. Okay, so how to write radial gradient ID? So gradient ID is nothing but my ID name. Okay, I'm going to specify the CX, CY value. At the same time, I'm going to specify the radius. Okay, and I'm going to have the stop offset. Okay, and I'm going to specify the start color. So for example, if it is starting point and this is my ending point. So where ID is nothing but the unique identification for the gradient. X and Y are nothing but the center of the gradient. R is nothing but the radius of the gradient. Stop defines the position and color of the gradient, whereas offset defines the position and color along with the gradient. Stop color specifies the color of the gradient. Okay, fine. Now I have simple example here. Okay, whenever I use radial gradient, then I want to use the tag called DEFS. Okay, first I'm going to define the tag DEFS. Okay, inside that I'm going to write radial gradient. And what's my ID name? Grad2. Okay, I'm going to specify the center, that is CX, CY. Okay, I'm going to specify the radius. At the same time, I'm going to specify the offset, that is stop offset, as well as stop color, and I'm going to specify the stop offset and style, that is nothing but the stop color. So one is red and another one is green. Next, see here, I'm going to close the radial gradient and I'm going to close the DEFS tag. Okay, then I'm going to call the rect. I'm going to pass the value x coordinate 25, y coordinate 25, width is, what is the width? 150, height is nothing but 100. Okay, and fill, what I want to do, I want to fill the color. Okay, fill, then URL. Okay, I'm going to pass the ID. Then I'm going to close the SVG tag body and I'm going to close the HTML. Okay, fine. Now see here, we use the radial gradient tag inside the DEFS section to define the radial gradient with the ID. What is my ID name? Grade, that is grad2. The gradient starts with the center of the rectangle. So if it is rectangle, okay, first I want to identify the rectangle. It starts from the center of the rectangle. The stop tag inside the radial gradient tag defines the color stop for the gradient. The first stop has a color. Okay, what is the color? Red. And the second stop has a color called green. Okay, then we use URL and I'm passing the ID grad2. Okay, and syntax to fill the rectangle with the gradient. Okay, fine. So dear student, this is the way we can able to use SVG with HTML5. So to use SVG, we must have the HTML5. So I'm going to embed SVG with the HTML5. Anyway, dear student, thank you for watching my session and let's meet in the next session with the new unit. Until that, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.